Hello, everyone, and welcome to 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀 podcast, the podcast where we explore faith and family and education through meaningful conversations that connect our school community. I'm 𝗶𝗺 𝗲𝗀, and today we're diving into a topic that every parent, teacher, and caregiver can relate to, raising and parenting teens. Parenting teenagers can be one of the most rewarding and sometimes one of the most stretching seasons of family life. Between technology, social pressures, and growing independence, today's teens are facing a world that's changing faster than ever. But at 𝗧𝗵𝗺 Episcopal School, our mission remains steady: to empower each student to achieve academic and moral excellence in a faith-filled environment based on God's Word. To help us unpack this topic, we're joined by two incredible guests: Mrs. Evelyn and Lauren, Director of Technology with the Florida Council of Independent Schools, and Mrs. Lauren Higgs, a licensed clinical social worker and therapist who works closely with adolescents and families on topics such as communication, resilience, and mental health. Ladies, thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
It means a lot to be able to spend some time together and to talk about this topic of raising and supporting teens. We know those teenage years and parenting of teens, there's a lot to it. And I've been through it twice, so I understand. But it's a beautiful, beautiful experience, right, to be able to see them grow through it. So thank you so much for being here. Evelyn, I'd like to start with you first. If you could share a little bit about, in terms of technology, just with your professional background, jump right into that tech question and tech topic. Today is very different than it was when we were teenagers. So what would you like to offer to start us off?
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Garcia, for having me. And I think this topic is so important. And I'm excited to delve more deeply in today to technology's impact on teens, as well as how we can develop partnerships through school, through church, through home, and really look at how through those partnerships we can make each other stronger and then pour into our teens as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And Lauren, from a mental health perspective, what would you like to maybe offer to start us off with this topic?
Yeah, I think this topic is really important in terms of the social and emotional impacts that technology and teenagers, have on one another. So many of our teens are dealing with feelings of anxiety and comparing themselves to others, perfectionism, and sometimes they're not even outwardly speaking of those things. They're just kind of internally dealing with it. So having this space to talk and collaborate on how we can best support them, I think is really important. And also just to find ways to be present and give them safe spaces, loving spaces to be able to share their thoughts and feelings, and just being able to provide that safe, loving space.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Would each of you like to maybe take a opportunity to talk about the importance of communication with teenagers and some tips?
Yes. You wanna go?
Absolutely.
That's a big question, I know.
Communication is so important. And I think really getting to know each of your kids as individuals is so important, because each often has their own style, their own comfortability. And then just being transparent with them, talking about the ways that they respond best to your communication, to discipline, to expectations. With my own children, sometimes even sitting by them and putting it in writing, how we best converse and what our expectations are as parents, and what do they need to hear from us to be successful. So especially with my son, we put it in writing, and then we'll go back to that, whether it was the contract that we developed together when he got his first cell phone at 12, or we've even developed some of that language into what his TV usage looks like and video game usage. So communication is really key. And I think I picked up on a lot of those strategies through parent education, through different webinars that I've listened to, as well as trainings that I've been a part of, just picking up on some of those strategies and then applying them with my kids.
I think it's important to know, even in the same household too, every child might need different types of parenting or a different approach. So the writing of things out with one son might not work for another child. So I think also knowing your teen and what what your household expectations are, but also what's going to work best for each individual child. But communication with teens is hard. They don't want to talk a lot.
Yes.
So providing them, a good tip is asking open-ended questions, because if
Love
we,
that.
even with my 3-year-old, when I get in the car, how was your day? Good. What did you do today? Nothing.
They start out so young with that response, right?
Yes.
But asking something like, what was your favorite part of the day, or what's on your mind lately, that kind of forces them to give you a little bit more of an answer. So just being consistent but low pressure, I think, is really important with teens. Knowing that the answers might be short when you first start. But the more consistent that we are with asking those open-ended questions, the bigger the opportunity for them to come to you later and have those deeper conversations when they know that you're present, you're attuned, and you're ready to listen whenever they're ready to talk.
Beautiful. That's wonderful advice. Thank you both. And in terms of rewards, when your own children, or for parents of their own children, how important is it to make sure to provide rewards, even for teenagers? What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely. I think it's tapping into what motivates them.
Yes,
And
definitely.
going back to each child being very individual, that it's important. I think about my son, and he has been just very motivated by sports, as many children are. And so a lot of his goals, even with technology, have been applied to him doing well with his academics so that he can be eligible to play sports.
Okay.
So setting up some of those goals, but also using technology to help build trust. And so a lot of his goals or rewards, the more we've been able to trust him, the more that independence opens
Absolutely.
up, or sometimes additional screen time or media, because he's earned that trust. And it kind of goes back to communication too, that if we set that up in the contract with him, he might be working towards additional goals or media or opportunities that's also tied to sports with some of the goals he's been seeking. So
Well, and setting age appropriate goals, and smaller goals, so that they can meet them and feel successful. I think that's really important. We can always add more. It's harder to take it away. So it's better to start with smaller goals that they can feel like they accomplished it. I did it. I was able to meet that goal. And now, look, I've earned extra time, or I've earned, whatever that the thing is that motivates them. Some kids, it's toys or money, or I don't, but setting attainable goals definitely is important as well. So
yes.
What are your thoughts in terms of, for parents who, we all know, parenting doesn't come with the manual.
it would be nice.
Well, yeah, it would be. And the Bible is some help, but we know there's a lot that goes into parenting. And, but for those that didn't have necessarily a strong modeling of parenting, and are looking for resources, any come to mind?
Our family uses Common Sense Media a lot, and that's a resource that I really see parents using, schools using, churches using. If there's a movie that's coming out, we'll often hop on there and read the reviews of why it's rated a certain way. Or a video game comes out, and our kids will ask about it, but I want to see what other parents think, so I'll go on there. And then also, being in the independent school world, a lot of schools utilize their curriculum in their classes or with parent education. So a lot of that vocabulary, lessons, different concepts can be carried into multiple realms, so that's been a great resource for us.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I'm not parenting teenagers yet personally, so these are all tips and tricks I'll have to learn. We're still very much in the toddler.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to monitor, I think, because he's not as independent with it. But that's great to know that there's resources like that out there for parents, especially when you're monitoring things like TV shows and movies and that sort of thing. So
I know from feedback from parents, one of the things that they often will ask is how to help their child stay balanced. So between schoolwork and extracurricular activities and just their personal life, and then desire to be on, technology. Any thoughts there to offer?
Absolutely. That's a question that I hear a lot
Mm-hmm.
from different parents and schools that I work with. And I think that that balance will always be a challenge, but I think one of the things we did in our family was when we were documenting some of the digital contracts, kind of putting in order the things that are a priority for our family.
Mhm.
So first would be the Lord and our faith. And then after that, usually we write the word family. And then after that, often academics. And then below
Mhm.
that are a lot of the hobbies and screen time and things. And so we try to go in that order. It's not always perfect. One may dominate a certain week, one of those categories.
Mm-hmm.
But I think often when we chat with our kids, we'll often go in that order first. Like, is schoolwork completed? Or your other responsibilities completed to this family or, to
Mhm.
what you need to get done? And then just looking at kind of closely if it does seem to be a lot of screen time that day or that week,
Mhm.
once one of our kids is off, how are they acting? Are they
Mhm.
still able to engage? Do they get off with a good attitude? Some of those
Mm-hmm.
triggers can be,
Absolutely.
hey, it's showing that it's a challenge to get off or a
Mm-hmm.
challenge to transition. So
Mhm.
kind of reining that back. So I think it's a dance kind of
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
between
Ebb
all
and
of those
flow,
things,
definitely.
but going back to communication,
Mhm.
trying to prioritize those
Yeah.
in that order.
Mhm. And even outside of technology, I think looking when we have school pressure, we've got extracurriculars, we
Mhm.
have all of these things. Our kids are so busy. Seeing if maybe we're in too many sports, or maybe
Mm.
we need to pull back. Things like that. And then as a parent, am I using screen time as a babysitter or a break? Like, why
Mm-hmm.
are we watching? What are we watching? Why are we utilizing it? Because it can be helpful. I mean, it's part of our world, right? And especially for
Mhm.
kids that are growing up with so much technology,
Yeah.
but also kind of doing a self-assessment of why are we doing too much, maybe, or
Right.
and how are they responding? So it could be, like you said, are they transitioning? Are they not? But
Mm.
sometimes it's too many sports, or maybe we just pick one that we're going to focus on, and that
Mhm.
way our grades are starting to fall. Like, how do we
Yeah.
find that balance? And every child will be different,
Mhm.
but um, sometimes I think we load too much on to
Mm-hmm.
them, and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and we can handle it because we're adults and we have those skills, but we just assume the kids have those skills too, and
Mm.
they're still learning them.
Yeah.
So,
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Those responses, I think, will be very helpful to our guests and viewers. And I would like to know now, turning towards faith and
Mhm.
families, right? And so, St. Barnabas being an Episcopal school,
mhm,
and it's in our mission to help our students to develop academic and moral excellence.
Mhm.
And so, how do you see parents being able to nurture faith in their teens when there's so many distractions?
mm,
That's such a great question. For our family, our church and youth group has been very beneficial for our
Mm,
teens because we know that there is a shift when they become teens to that they're looking to their peers, they're looking
mm,
to the church as strong voices in
mm,
addition to parenting. So, youth group has just been a wonderful environment for our kids through weekly events, through retreats, going
mm,
away, but just kind of pouring in the same
mhm,
values and just pouring in scripture to what they're facing.
mhm,
And then having those other trusted adults that we're in
mhm,
partnership with. And I do really think St. Barnabas does a magnificent job of offering through the years so many webinars, so
mhm,
many on campus virtual options for parents
mm,
to be able to speak the same language as the school, feel supported, have
mm,
that partnership, because and really look to God in all of this
yeah.
because we need His wisdom
yeah,
and discernment. So many times that my husband and I just continue to bathe our three children in prayer all of the
Mhm,
time,
mhm,
and we also know the church is doing the same
yeah,
and those other
yeah,
trusted adults in their
yeah.
life because that is our greatest source of wisdom
mhm,
when we're truly trying to journey on with our
Mhm,
teenagers
mhm.
and really do our best. And so I'm thankful that the Lord has been our guide in all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Awesome.
And from a developmental standpoint, teenagers are at a stage in their life where they are questioning things
Hmm.
like identity and purpose, belonging, and their beliefs. So I
Yeah.
think, again, going back to that safe space of knowing that they can ask those questions to you. We may not always have all the answers, but they're also watching us and how we're
Yes.
handling life stressors. Are we praying when things get hard? Are we coming together when we need community? Are we extending grace and compassion? These are all like living out our faith, showing them through actions. Sometimes can speak louder than a lecture or some kind of formal talk. I think just being visible and vulnerable. Those are the two words I think of when I think about parenting and faith and how they are woven together. Just showing them through our actions how we're living, and also having, of course, all of the supports that we can put for our children. But I think just living it out loud is really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Resource is something that comes to mind in terms of, there isn't enough resources, I think, for parents to be able to take advantage of. But you mentioned Common Sense Media. Are there some other resources that you would like to recommend or encourage parents to maybe check out to see if it's a good fit for them in terms of just parenting in general for teenagers and how to really guide their teens?
Yeah, one book that I read this past summer that I know many schools, churches, families did was The Anxious Generation. And that's a newer release, and I know many have seen that, but I kind of dog-eared that book and go back to it frequently as a great resource to understand what my teens might be facing, to reapproach a situation. So that's just been a wealth of information that's really helped me, as well as that book. A couple others that have been really valuable as well are some from Ted Tripp. I read a lot of his work, and also just different things that the youth leaders share with our family as well have been really valuable.
And I think resources can also be people and relationships and connections. So sometimes a youth leader or a teacher, they can say the same message as their parent and they'll receive it differently. So I also think coaches, people like that your child is bonded to, sometimes even seeking them out and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this at home, or do you think you could chat with them? Or, having like an adult mentor sometimes that's not a parent can be a huge resource to say the same message, but in a different way. So I think that's also, utilizing your village, so to speak, of who you have at your disposal to help you out.
Great point.
Yeah. Have you found it helpful in your own parenting to try to stay a step ahead of your teen? And how do you do that?
With technology? Yeah.
Great question. Often through seeing what the school might be offering for latest professional development or parent gatherings, that's been huge. Another thing that I try to do is really talk to other parents. And I'll be on the football field or going through the pickup line or at my child's school. And often I'll ask the next grade up, or if I know they're in high school and my son's in middle school now, to just see if they faced it and how they addressed it. I also get a lot of feedback from them through things like how they may have used screen monitoring softwares on a phone or video games, how they set it up, including getting out our phones side by side and saying, how did you set this? How did you give boundaries? What level did you set this for? Because that changes very rapidly. And even in my field, in the world of technology, sometimes the latest iOS update will change everything or knock your screen time settings out of whack.
Right.
So I'll often do that comparison live with parents, friends, just to try to stay the best head that we can. But I do always feel like we're trying our best.
Absolutely.
But
And we don't have to be experts. I think we want to know it all, but we can't possibly learn it all. And even the kids, they probably know tips and tricks on our phones that we don't. So I think what I recommend to parents a lot is to lead with curiosity more than control necessarily. So talking to your teens about what are they watching, what's trending, what are they following, that will be a lot less aggressive feeling to your teen that you're interested, you want to know, and it may end up being something that you're also interested in. It could create a bonding moment for you both. But when we lead with fear, sometimes it can cause teens to shut down on us, and then we've lost that chance for communication. So looking at bonding through that experience, but also kind of to piggyback off of what you were saying with the home, setting those boundaries of like, if we have no phones at the table for dinner, or do the phones get charged in a place not in their rooms at night? So what does the household environment look like in terms of that can kind of give you that feeling of control as a parent so that you can monitor them in a way that doesn't feel overbearing. But, we're opening that conversation to bond with them. And when they feel like they care, it's building trust and honesty. It's helping them, have healthy digital media usage habits. So I think that's really important as well.
And again, it goes back to, communication and conversation and really nurturing, like you said, the trust, with their teens, and which is not always easy.
No.
And sometimes you have to be a little bit psychologically, sophisticated. But I love that you both, really tapped into, resource people and, not trying to go at it all by yourself, because that can be daunting, can it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You touched on a book called The Anxious Generation, and I did want to talk about the topic of anxiety, and anxiety can come from many different places, right? But I find in my work presently, that students understand, or at least they're using the word anxious more often, right? And helping them to understand the difference between what's butterfly anxious versus what's like true anxiety, And so how do you guide parents in helping them to kind of discern where their students are at and have conversations that can give them an idea of, where their child's at and whether to seek help?
So from a clinical perspective, I like to look at, is it impacting them in their, or any adult, but social, occupational, like, is it so overbearing that they don't want to go to school, they can't have conversations, they don't want to go out into social situations? That's an example of when anxiety is just really overtaking them. If they're like nervous for a test, that's a healthy level of anxiety. A little nervous about a new opportunity, or when we were on campus, they were playing dodgeball. Like maybe they're nervous about that. Those are healthy levels of anxiety. And our brain takes the feeling of anxiety is also the same feeling as excitement. So it's how we're perceiving that event. So that would be the main thing is it inhibiting them from being able to do their day-to-day activities? That would be a time where you might want to reach out for counseling or something, or finding that trusted person that they might be able to confide in, and then maybe writing down strategies, maybe not a contract, but some kind of strategy. Sometimes kids do need it laid out for them, but the main thing is, is it inhibiting their ability to do what they need to do, or is it just totally overtaking everything that they're feeling? So
Thank you.
I do think that it's become a buzzword though, anxiety. So, and kids, they know more now because they have access to so much. So just talking with them too about what is anxiety, or, how are you feeling? Those same, coming back to being present and interested in them will help to have those conversations.
Yeah. It brings to mind the word stimuli and, or stimulus, that there's all different kinds now that students may experience that when we were growing up in their age weren't even present, they didn't exist at that time. So thoughts there, Evelyn?
Yeah, I really agree with what you shared. And all three of my children have had different struggles with anxiety, but realizing my limitations, I have reached out to their pediatrician or to some counseling as well. And through those services, all three of my kids have been able to get more strategies for the words to articulate what they're facing,
Right.
which I think has been huge for them to be able to say if it's, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm fearful, like to truly identify going into a situation. And I've seen all three of them make a lot of progress working with a great team of people, and that parents can. I think what has been awesome to see developmentally happen as well is more parents, when they feel their children may need counseling, they feel more comfortable to do that, I think, in the past when it comes to mental health.
I do think there's been
A growth
better
of that.
stigma around it.
Yes. So if
Definitely.
it is at levels where they do need additional support, that being able to reach out and get their kids that help. And for our family, it's made a big difference.
Great. Great. Thank you for sharing that.
And within the counseling realm too, like, and maybe with your experience, sometimes the counselor can then also help the parent by saying, here's some strategies to try at home. Let's see if it works, or just to kind of help the whole family dynamic. Sometimes that can be helpful in the counseling setting as well. It's not always just, your child is one piece of the whole family puzzle. So it helps, when they need those strategies, but sometimes they can also offer family support as a whole unit.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. That I think will be found to be very helpful advice. And so let's go into a little fun wrap up.
Okay.
Okay. Call us the lightning rounds, but it's just an opportunity for whatever comes to your mind first related to the topic that I'm going to offer. Sound okay?
Okay.
Great.
All right. Let's just have some fun. So one thing you loved about being a teenager?
Ooh.
My word is independence in a way. I think my mom always trusted me for the most part. I never really gave her a reason not to. My sister, she's a little more rebellious, but I felt like I was able to do the things I wanted to do, and she trusted me to try and fail. But I think of like sleepovers and all of those fun things you got to do with your friends. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
So yeah. What about
I'm
you?
going to say passions. Being a teenager, I felt you could pursue so many passions at once. So if you wanted to try student council, soccer, band, performing arts, it was a time where you could somehow do all of that, before you grow up and join the workforce and have to pick one or two things.
Right.
So I do miss that. And I try to impart that same thing in my teens, that it's a chance to try so many new things and to see what you enjoy the most and what you like really get that joy from.
It is a unique time in
It
their
is.
development for sure.
A lot of fun too.
Yeah. It sure is. It sure is. One thing you don't miss about being a teenager?
Girl drama.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was kind of fun to grow up and be able to start a family. And so
That's true.
to sort of take some of those awesome things that my parents did and pass that forward to my kids. So I think that part of it's been fun to sort of grow up and switch into that role now, and all that the joy that brings and all of that.
The full circle.
Yes,
Now
the
you're
full
back in
circle.
it. Yes.
You appreciate your parents in a whole new way
Yes.
because you know how challenging it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. What comes to mind when I ask about a go-to family activity that brings everybody together?
So we are a no phones or screens at the table. I feel like dinner time, we all have to eat dinner. So that's our time to connect. I enjoy that every day. But my son is really into putting up a tent in the house right now, and we watch movies, and that's been a really fun activity for all of us, just to kind of unplug and bond together. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what I think of.
For us, it is going out to eat and trying new cuisines.
Okay.
So since our kids were little, we let them come up with different ideas of new restaurants to check out. So whether that's Thai food or Chinese food. So that's a bonding experience, getting to try new cuisines
exciting.
and restaurants in the Orlando and Central Florida area together.
Awesome.
Any favorites that you can think of?
We like to go down to Mills in Orlando, where there's a
Okay.
lot of very delicious Asian food, like very authentic. So that's a family favorite.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Recommended as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot to choose from.
Yeah.
If you could tell your teenage self one thing or a bit of advice that you know now, what would you offer your teenage self?
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Hmm.
I think I spent time worrying about, different little things that in the big scheme didn't really, I don't want to say they didn't matter, but I think we can get hung up on the little details that in the big picture, don't really impact us as much as we think they are in that moment. So that's
Yeah.
probably what I would tell myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll connect to that and say grace. I think that goes really with it. Giving yourself grace and to persevere through different challenges. Because I think when you are a teen, your challenges seem very overwhelming, whether that's
Absolutely.
trying to pass a difficult class or navigate a relationship or even like a loss of a sports game that you were,
Right.
keen on. And so those can feel very monumental at the time, but like grace to move forward and to learn from them
Right.
and things like that.
Things we thought were the end of the
Oh,
world, we probably
yes.
don't even remember now. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, yes,
Yeah.
grace just to take it moment by moment. But I think I would have been a little more
Yeah. Yeah.
carefree, maybe. I don't know what the word would be, but I just not to sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Grace is a powerful word. And I think exposing children and teenagers to that and the whole concept and giving oneself grace. I love that as well.
We need that as adults too. So
Oh, yes.
Yes, exactly. Parents,
Yes,
right?
absolutely, yes.
Parents, there's a lot of grace for you there, so
Absolutely.
receive it. Favorite Bible verse or quote that guides you or helps you as a parent?
If this is okay, I'm going to say the whole book of Romans. And probably would put Ephesians with that too. But those books, just in the New Testament and the fulfilling of what God has done up until those times, is amazing. And I think looking at some of those verses when it's but God, and even that short phrase, like first in Ephesians and then in Romans, with God being rich in his mercy to us, going back to grace,
Yeah.
that we don't deserve, what we have, but being able to use that grace and be empowered by that to love our teens. And that's the biggest thing that I would love my teens to say when they're, 20s, 30s, is that they saw God's mercy and grace in their lives and modeled for them through my husband and I, in an imperfect way, but they saw that and that would then inform the rest of their journeys too. Like, that's my heart for them.
Yes.
And so, so Ephesians and Romans, it's a bit more than one verse,
That's
but
okay.
both such great books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. That was
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Yep. The one I've been leaning on more so is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understandings. I think we have to remind ourselves that we don't have all the answers, but he already knows what's coming, and he's already walked that for us. And so he's not going to give us what we can't handle. And I think with parenting, there's so many unknowns. There is no handbook, like you said. So just trusting in the Lord and know that he will make our path straight is what I've been leaning on more so lately, but that's always one that's stuck with me. So
Thank you both so much.
Absolutely.
This has been so valuable, and I hope our viewers find this as well. And thank you for your time, and God bless you both.
Thank you.
Parenting teens isn't about perfection. It's about being present, prayerful, and patient. And that's what we strive to model here at 𝗧𝗺𝗺𝗺 Episcopal School, as we empower each student to achieve academic and moral excellence in a faith-filled environment based on God's Word. If today's conversation encouraged you, please share it with another parent or teacher, and subscribe to St. B's podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts or watch online. I'm Paul Garcia, and from all of us at St. Barnabas, thank you for joining us. Keep leading with love, faith, and grace.